guys, and welcome to yet another episode of AK Talks. Today we are taking another dig towards another existing problem in our beautiful country which does not get the attention it deserves: education. The thing which parents always remind you is good, relatives can't keep their noses out of, and the thing for which you had to wake up grudgingly every day at 6 for almost 14 years. Even though India's literacy rate has been growing, are we truly imparting the kind of education modern times demand and to every Indian? The answer is no. There are a number of issues this particular sphere is facing, and this brings us to the topic of our discussion today: the Indian education system and the problems associated with it. So, without any further ado, let's begin. India has been following the same course structure and syllabus since the time of independence due to the fact that the Indian methodology insists on starting from the basics. It worked very well for decades, even centuries, and hence has taken a strong hold on the education system. 90% of the education is theoretical with minimum scope for practical learning on the part of the students. There's no space for creative learning and thinking. Students are always bound to a specific syllabus and are not free to go out and about their scenes. Our teaching methodology is highly monotonous and there's an absolute dearth of mobility and agility in it. Students are mostly subjected to long lecture hours where the sum total of learning that they get is highly questionable. Even the currency of a country goes through inflation to keep up with modern times. So why shouldn't this? In such times, an interesting mode of teaching not only helps the students but also brings out a sense of real interest in them to pursue the subject in a wholly different manner. And why is interest important in such a situation? This is why. The Indian education system uses a marks-based evaluation system made to act like a probe stick to judge the quality of students. You may remember that famous dialogue from Three Idiots: "Life is a race. अगर आगे नहीं बढ़ोगे तो कोई तुम्हें कुचल के पीछे छोड़ देगा." Unfortunately, that's how the real world works. Studying is not a passion in India. It's a race for getting good marks, for getting into good colleges, and after that, getting a good job. Our education system basically promotes a rat race, wherein all the children have to just read and mug up their textbooks without even understanding the true meaning of what they are studying. Even with this, if a student gets a 90 out of 100 in any exam, he just remains a rat. Marks make us engage in a meaningless competition which affects our mental stability. If we do not score as well as our friends do, or if we do not meet the expectations certain people have set for us, it lowers our morale and makes us question our ability. Now, I myself am lucky enough to be the son of two loving parents who do not judge their child by the number of marks they have gotten, to realize that their place in society is not limited by just a few numbers. This, however, is not the case for many of the children out there. If we can look into almost 2 decades of the syllabus from any Indian board, we can easily conclude that there have been negligible changes in the syllabus. One thing that the Indian education system lacks is market knowledge and functional aspect of literacy. This is something that needs to be worked upon, wherein the future Indian society can be looked upon and be known as well educated, not well trained. This point comes into focus after the completion of your higher secondary education. This is the point when you come to know that getting good marks is not enough, because someone with 50% of the marks which you have gotten can end up getting a better college or job. Reservation system, for this matter only, is known as the silent killer of India. It all began in 1982 when the Constitution of India decided that 15% and 7.5% of the government jobs quota be reserved for SC and STs, that is, the scheduled caste and the ethnic groups respectively, and that this number shall be reviewed after every 5 years. In the 1990s, the Indian Prime Minister Vishwant Pratap Singh declared a 50% reservation for admissions and jobs in all government bodies, and the rest is history. Reservation was initially intended as a tactic to uplift certain communities in India, but the government's failure in controlling the amount of reservation and lack of proper review of the policies by them have resulted in wide criticism and backlash. It is often described as a menace primarily due to its anti-meritocratic nature, which is causing further division in the society. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not blaming reservation on the idea and foundation on what it was built, but on what it has become over the years. Just like McDonald's, which was built on the idea of serving fast and easy food, but who knew that it would lead to a rise of the international obesity rate by huge numbers. Over the years, education has become a business. In India, where nearly 260 million children go to school, the highest globally, any crooked mind or businessman would see money bags floating over their heads. According to the guidelines released by the Education Ministry, it is not actually legal to run educational institutions as business organizations, as only trusts can do them on non-profit basis. However, there appears to be a systematic method by which many trusts turn these non-profit institutions into their profit centers. The entrepreneurs taking advantage of the high demand for education generally get land allotted at a nominal cost in the name of an educational society. In the initial stages, some temporary structures are put up. Later on, as students are admitted, funds begin to flow in the form of development fee, building fee, tuition fee, games fee, cultural event fee, etc. These institutions charge cost plus pricing for the services rendered by them. Therefore, over a period of time, these institutions can construct huge buildings and purchase costly equipment to modernize their establishments. In this way, a large percentage of unaided private schools and colleges have converted education into a business enterprise. Earlier, these institutions were confined to just metropolitan cities and big cities, but now they are spreading even to smaller towns. This type of exploitation is one of the reasons for the increase of cost of living in India. How? Because of the fact that an average Indian family spends an amount of 25.19 lakhs for their children's education. This accounts for almost 46% of the total spending required to raise a child. And after all that money and hard work, students end up either being unemployed or unemployed. There are many people in India itself who are raising their voice against this act and doing something about it. Like the Indian mathematics educator Mr. Anand Kumar, who with his Super 30 program coaches underprivileged students for IIT JEE, emphasizing the fact that money cannot always buy success and grades, but dedication and hard work can. This type of commercialization affects government education as well, because of which little attention is being paid to the education system in rural India. According to ASER, about 50% students, 50% in 5th standard attending rural schools are not even capable of reading a text meant for junior classes. It's sad to see that education has become such a commodity in India, especially higher education. All the genres of society are so overly obsessed with it that it has now devalued its real essence. In a world where everything is now being turned on the influence of that green note, some sectors do not need to be exploited at such a level so that society as a whole may suffer in the near future. So that's it for today. Thank you for tuning in to another video of AK Talks. Please like, subscribe if you still haven't, and share it with all your friends and families. See you next time with a brand new video on a brand new topic.